So team, that's me, Vikas Sharma, with more than 22 years of experience in IT, being part of pre-sales, bidding, transition. Now, when I talk about and even operations, but when I talk about my experience with Agile, because we are here to see how AI works with Agile. Now, let that be Agile software development or let that be Agile service management. It could be any type of Agile. We are here for that particular topic. We'll try to cover that. So, team, as you can see, I have an experience and I'm an accredited trainer for Agile Scrum. Well, Kanban is another framework. I'm also accredited trainer for Kanban. I train on Agile Scrum Masters, Agile Scrum Product Owner. Apart from that, Scaled Agile Framework, DevOps, DevSecOps, SRE. Now, that's for the development and operations side of it. But in operations, it's mainly for CM, ITIL, and if we go to project management, that's Prince2 Agile. I train on all of these. Now, team, if we talk about my experience with Agile, I have vast experience in implementing Agile, in driving that Agile transformation for most of the organizations, not only the software development practices, but also in Agile service management, where we were making incident management, problem management more Agile. And apart from that, if we talk about Agile, so how Agile works, what are the Agile frameworks? So I have vast experience in all these areas, and I'm going to share my experience with you to discuss how AI is changing that landscape of working in Agile. So let's go ahead and review our agenda for today. So team, as we start, we will go ahead with the evolution of Agile, where we will cover what is Agile, what is Scrum. Well, there's another framework, Kanban, but Scrum is most commonly used. So I'll focus more of the discussions on Scrum instead of Kanban. But yeah, that's also fine. Kanban discussions. I mean, wherever you think we need to discuss, you can always ask those questions. Later in the end, we'll keep 15 minutes only for question answers. So there you can ask those questions and you can park them till that particular point. And team, next topic that we will look at will be AI intersection with the Agile. So where I'll put more focus on how AI is being used nowadays in all the Scrum practices or let's say Scrum events, if we talk about it, how Scrum artifacts are getting benefited because of AI, and what are those roles. Specifically, when it comes to AI, Scrum Master role is changing big time. So we will have discussions on that particular role as well and how AI is transforming that role. So we will look at those things. And in the end, if we are implementing AI in the organization, so what should be the high level implementation roadmap and what challenges you can face in the AI agile integrations. I've got some real world case studies. And then what is the future of AI in agile? In fact, I would also be looking at tools and the platforms that can be used. So there are some examples that I've got for you. These are only few tools that are mentioned here, but tools are not limited to only those tools. There are many other tools. So this would be our agenda for today. So let's start. Now, team, this is just about the project management methods that have been introduced in the industry over a period of time. Well, way back in 1970, to be precise, 1971, there was the beginning of waterfall model, and then there were other additions that got added. In fact, Scrum, many people think Agile and Scrum are same. So if we talk about Scrum, Scrum got introduced in 1993 and took a couple of years to get that implementation done. So many people say it's 1995. That's also fine. So that was the time when Scrum got introduced, and then Scrum could not deliver the value that was expected because organizations, when they started implementing Scrum, they implemented it in their operations, but they were not able to get that kind of value out of it. So then Agile Manifesto was introduced in 2001, and that was the beginning of Agile. So we will see what is that Agile, what is Scrum, and what is the difference. And then there were other Agile methodologies that were introduced or other methods that came in later. So this is just a brief history. Now, if I talk about Agile methodologies, well, there are many agile methodologies that exist in the market. Scrum is one of them. There is Kanban, there is Spotify, there are many other iterative methodologies that are available. There is something also called as large scale Scrum, where you scale Scrum to the org level, or you can also do it through SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework. So if you look at the origins, born in software development as a response to the waterfall method. And if we talk about the principles, they are iterative approach, team collaboration, customer feedback, core values. So we will see there are 12 principles of Agile. I'll take you through them. You will see they're very simple to implement. And what is Agile? We will discuss that. And it helps in innovation. Now, if I talk about what is Agile, now many people ask me this question. Is Agile a framework? No, Agile is not a framework. So what is this Agile? See, Agile Manifesto was introduced in 2001. So as I told you, Scrum was already in the market, but organizations were not getting the value, or let's say Ken and Jeff Sutherland, who introduced Scrum in the market. So they found that people are misusing it, or they are not using the way it was supposed to be used. So they further met other people, and then together all of these drafted Agile Manifesto, and it was introduced in 2001 in Chicago in US. So that was the beginning of Agile. Now, what is that Agile? Agile is that manifesto. If we talk about what is the manifesto, manifesto has 4 values and 12 principles. So what is Agile? Agile is a state of mind. It's a mindset. Means if we want to be Agile, if we adapt to those 4 values and 12 principles from Agile, we are Agile. In fact, that's why I tell people don't do Agile, because you cannot do Agile. It's not giving you a guideline that you have to do this meeting, you have to do it in so and so time, and you have these roles. No, they come from the framework. That's Scrum. Scrum is one of them, Kanban is another. But what is Agile? Agile is the mindset that will be built over those 4 values and 12 principles. So that is what Agile is. Well, people say it's a methodology, yes, but I still prefer to call it as a mindset. So it is based on that Agile Manifesto. And as I told you, it was introduced in 2001. So these are 4 values of Agile. If you look at these 4 values of Agile, we are talking about individuals and interactions or processes and tools. Now, what do we mean by this? Most of you already know. So here, we are saying that we will value our people. It's again a mindset that we have to adopt. If you want to be flexible, we will value our people over processes and tools. It's not that we will not have the processes and tools, we would, but processes would make you more rigid. So instead of focusing more on the processes and the tools and getting into that rigidity, we need flexibility. So who's the right decision maker there in that particular situation? The person who's doing the work, and we are going to trust them for the decisions that they're making or for the actions that they are implementing. That is what it says. We value our individuals, and we are going to promote their interactions. Now, if you look at this particular value, how is it implemented in Agile? It is. In fact, if we look at, let's say, for example, we take Scrum or Kanban in both, we have more and more interaction among the people. There we are promoting that daily stand-up meetings, or you can call them as daily Scrum meetings. So that's more and more interaction, and we value our individuals where we let them self-organize. Means product owner is one of the roles from Scrum. Product owner or business would tell them that what needs to be delivered, and then they would decide how to deliver it. So we let them self-organize because they are the right people to make the right decision in that situation. So we are trusting them for their capability. So that's how this value is implemented. That's how you become Agile. Then it says working software over comprehensive documentation. Yes, working software. Now, what do we mean by this? At the end of every iteration, every sprint, every time box of 2 weeks, which is one of the events in Scrum. So at that particular time, we are going to demonstrate an increment. So that increment can be referred to as a working software. So working software has to be demonstrated at the end of every iteration. Our progress will be measured on that working software. So that's where we are saying that we should focus more on delivering the working software so that we can demonstrate and we can take a feedback instead of spending time on something that is not that essential. So that's where it says working software over comprehensive documentation. Now, if we look at this value, you look at the way we prepare our product backlogs, or if we are doing it for agile service management, so we have incident management, which is where we create the incident management practice backlog. So whenever we create those backlogs, we write high level requirements. Now these requirements are written in the voice of the users, so they are called as user stories. So if we talk about reducing the comprehensive documentation, we are doing it in terms of our product backlog, where we capture the most of the requirements for the entire project. Or for every sprint, we create a sprint backlog. If you look at our reports, mainly these are visual dashboards, our information radiators. We are not spending too much of time over there. It's automated. So we are reducing comprehensive documentation in all these areas. So we are focusing more on something that needs to be delivered. And then next one is customer collaboration over contract negotiation. We promote more and more interactions with the customer because we want to take their early feedback. We want to know whether do they need any changes, because those changes might be important for those customers as they have a lot of competition, as they want to sustain their products in the market. So owing to that competition, there is more and more collaboration that is needed. Plus, you would know the where we need to change. Instead of identifying the changes in the requirements quite later, you would identify them at the right time. So that's where the customer collaboration, it's important. So this is one of the value, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Well, many people say, oh, are we not going to negotiate the contracts? No, our contracts are flexible nowadays. If you look at those clauses in the contracts, they clearly mention that any additional scope would be agreed between the business and the team. So we are not going to we are not going to, let's say, ignore it. It has that clause covering it, that whatever they discuss, any additional scope that will be amended, or there would be a way to do the agreement instead of following a very stringent or very rigid procedure. There are still change requests that come in, but we are handling them in a different way. So that's where we are still flexible. We are agile. Then, fourth value, responding to changes over following a plan. So when we say responding to changes, we never say no to the changes. We are always open for those changes. So that is the fourth value that keeps you flexible. Now, with these four values, you have 12 principles. Like I told you, our main focus is on customer. So customer satisfaction is our highest priority. And in Agile, we always say motto of Agile is keeping customer happy all the time. So we take their feedback, we involve them in the discussions. They are there when we are doing the overall planning. They are there when we do the demonstrations. So customer satisfaction is our highest priority, and we will do whatever it takes to get that satisfaction. And then embrace change. We never say no to the changes. Changing requirements are always welcome, even if they are late in the project. And then says deliver working software. So when we say working software, we deliver the working software frequently. In fact, I refer to this as frequent delivery, because every 1 week or 2 weeks, whatever is our iteration duration, it can be of 3 weeks or it can be of 4 weeks also. So we deliver the working software, means we demonstrate that we take the feedback and we are going to work on that feedback. So that's frequent delivery. And then collaboration is a key. Now, this is collaboration between the business and the team. So who represents the business? Well, product owner is representative of the business, and product owner is working with the team daily. So that's the collaboration between the business and the developers. And if I talk about empower individuals, yes, that was our first value. We value our individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So here we are saying that we are going to empower our individuals. We are going to let them decide how to get the job done. So we are giving them that environment and the support that they need, and trust them to get the job done. So motivated individuals, they are always motivated because we stick to their commitment. Team would commit what needs to be, what they can deliver in that particular iteration to achieve the goal of the iteration. So that commitment comes from the team. So we empower our individuals, means these are motivated individuals. We promote face-to-face communication because that is the effective method of conveying information. That's during your daily Scrum meetings, or if our team is co-located. So then our reviews, or our retrospectives, we do it in person. But as you know, teams are geographically dispersed. So still, if face-to-face is not possible, I mean, if physically we are not present at that location, so then still we would like to do the virtual meetings. And then our working software is our primary measure of progress. As I told you, our progress is measured against whatever we deliver at the end of that iteration, our increment. And then sustainable development, well, it's a constant pace that everyone commits to, and we deliver as per that particular commitment. And then self-organizing teams. As I told you, teams decide how to deliver, means product owner or the business will give them the requirement, and team will split those requirements into the high-level stories. So that's where the self-organization comes in. And then technical excellence. So we are saying everybody in the team should have the required skill set. Means whatever skills are needed to deliver the working software should be there on the team. And we try to get that technical excellence, means there's a concept of technical debt, which we try to reduce through trainings, through cross-skilling. So we try to look for that continual improvement within the team. And simplicity is the key. So everything is managed in a very simple way. If you look at Scrum or Agile, or let's say the way we are managing things, it's very simple to handle those things. There's a lot of transparency. Teams are performing those discussions. We are keeping everything simple. So simplicity is the key. And the last one, where we say we learn from our mistakes. We capture the lessons learned. We do the retrospectives. We identify what went well, what did not go well, and what can be done better next time. So we identify those action items. We take them to the next iteration. We try to implement those actions. And in the next retrospective, we are going to see whether did we implement those actions or not. So that's reflect, tune, and adjust, regular adaptation or regular improvement. So these are 12 principles. You have 4 values and 12 principles in Agile. So Agile is that mindset. To adapt to that mindset, you have to adapt these principles and the values. Well, here on this slide, I'm just highlighting which are the other frameworks that work with Agile. So if you look at the data that I've got, 66% of the projects that are done are using Scrum with Agile. So we say Scrum is one of the Agile frameworks, but there are other frameworks also, and you can see the percentage. You also have Kanban. Well, Kanban is mainly for operations where you don't have a role of a Scrum Master, plus you don't have concepts more formal like sprint planning, or we don't have a concept of sprint. Work keeps adding, and we never freeze the work like we do in Scrum. So it's completely a different ballgame. But Kanban is more successful in the operations. And then you have a hybrid of Scrum and Kanban, that's Scrumban. And then you have extreme programming and hybrid of Scrum and extreme programming. You have other iterative methodologies that are being used. There's something called as lean startup. Plus there is 1%, which is not mentioned here. There's also in Spotify. That's also one of the good frameworks. So team, those are different frameworks that work along with Agile. Now, as Scrum is mostly used with Agile, so I'll just try to now highlight Scrum, and then we will see how AI is helping in those Scrum practices and Scrum events. We will try to see that. So now, what is Scrum? Scrum is a framework. So an iterative approach that helps team deliver value. It's very lightweight, that helps team work together effectively and achieve the goals. And it was developed by Ken and Jeff in 1993 to be specific. And they drew the inspiration of calling this framework Scrum from the game of rugby, which emphasizes on teamwork, communication, self-organization. So that's how Scrum came into being. Now, if we talk about what are the benefits of Scrum, well, most of you might have already known about Scrum. So Scrum increases productivity where a team is working more collaboratively and they're working together. They're following all those practices, all the events of Scrum, which we are going to highlight, and plus those practices. So it increases the productivity of the team. Plus, Scrum Master as a role is there to facilitate and remove the impediments and create an environment that makes team highly productive. And then enhance collaboration between the team. It promotes self-organization and improve quality. That is incorporating the feedback, adapting to changing requirements. Scrum helps team deliver the high quality products and increase customer satisfaction. Well, similar to Agile, we have 5 values of Scrum as well, and that is commitment, courage, focus, openness, and respect. Well, commitment team are fully dedicated to achieving the sprint goal. Everyone is committed to the sprint goal. Courage, team should have the courage to do the right thing. They should not be afraid to make difficult decisions and speak up when needed. Don't keep those impediments hidden. You need to talk them out. And then focus. So team maintains a clear focus on work at hand, prioritizing and managing distractions. And openness. Openness, that means transparency. So teams openly communicate, share information, and actively seek the feedback as well. And respect. So every team member would value each other's contribution, each other's time. So there's a lot of respect amongst the entire team. Everyone helps each other, work as one single team. So if you look at these values, these are somewhat similar to whatever we discussed earlier. I mean, agile values could be the next level, but these could be your foundation. So just keep these values in mind. These are again values, so means they are going to alter our behavior. We need to adapt these values to implement Scrum. And now these are 3 pillars of Agile Scrum. You can easily remember them. TIA. Well, that stands for thanks in advance, but transparency, inspection, and adaptation or adaption. Transparency throughout the project. There is complete transparency. We don't hide anything. Team has committed that whenever they come across any impediments, they are going to voice it out. They are going to highlight that so that other team members and the Scrum Master can think over those impediments and can also try to remove them. So that's transparency throughout. And plus, our information is never hidden. It's there on the whiteboards, visual dashboards. You also have inspection. Well, inspection starts from our daily stand-ups where team is inspecting whether we are moving towards the sprint goal, whether we are going to achieve the sprint goal or not. Then another inspection would be from customer or other stakeholders in sprint review, where we demonstrate the product, we get the feedback. And then last is your retrospection, where team would sit together and they would try to come up with the discussions on what went well, what did not go well, and what can be improvised next time. So that's more of inspection. And then comes adaptation or improvisation. So that is again, we have captured those lessons learned. So now we are going to identify the improvement ideas and we are going to add them to the next iteration backlog so that we don't miss out on that. And in the next retrospective, we are going to again see what we improvised, what we didn't, and we further try to make it a habit that we improvise every time. So that's, these are those 3 pillars of Agile Scrum together. Now, team, as we are talking about Scrum, let me highlight certain roles. So Scrum roles, you have a product owner role. Well, you already know product owner, representative of the business, is going to get in touch with the business, understand their requirements, create a draft product backlog, and then come back, discuss it with the team. Well, whatever I'm telling you are the ideal situations, but these practices have been changed in many organizations and they're using it differently. So let's say product owner creates a draft backlog. Now, why I'm saying draft backlog? Because that has to be discussed with the team and then it would be finalized. And then we also have a release planning that is being done. So product owner, we call this role as a value optimizer because this person would know that how to prioritize the product backlog, how to prioritize our deliverables so that create more value for the business. And this particular person is a decision maker amongst all 3 roles. This person decides what needs to be delivered. And this person would own the product backlog, would make or make the changes to the product backlog. No one else can do that. So product owner is very important role for every organization, for every team. And now the next role is Scrum Master. Well, at a high level, Scrum Master is a facilitator, is an impediment buster for the team. So if I have to categorize the responsibilities of Scrum Master, I would say Scrum Master is a coach to the team because Scrum Master is expert in Scrum practices, is going to coach the team on Scrum practices. Scrum Master is a protector of the team, protecting team from the outer disturbances. Scrum Master is a facilitator, facilitate the Scrum events and also remove the impediments for the team, creating an environment that makes the team highly productive. So that's more of a Scrum Master role. And then comes the development team. Well, development team, we say it's a small and nimble team because the size that is preferred is around 3 to 9 people in the team, and that is excluding the product owner and Scrum Master. So if you look at that particular number, yes, it's mix of developers, testers. It's one team that works together. There are no sub teams. So we call this team as a cross-functional, self-organizing team. And you have all the skills that are needed to deliver the product on this particular team. So these are those 3 roles that are part of Scrum. So Scrum talks about 3 roles. And if you look at the Scrum events, there are 5 events. Sprint itself is referred to as one of the events. So you have sprint, that is the event that runs for, let's say, it's up to the organization or the team to decide whether it should be a 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. But we say don't go for beyond 4 weeks. Why? Because then your connect with the customer will be too long and you will not be able to get the timely feedback. You would not be able to improvise. So shorter the sprint, more effective is, or it is more effective to capture the feedback at the given time. And you would not deviate from the requirements of the customer. Customer would be more happy. So that is how we say sprint. Sprint is also referred to as iteration. So you can call it as an iteration in Scrum or sprint, which is a time box of mostly of 2 weeks. Well, within the sprint, we have other 4 events. On the day 1 of the sprint, we have sprint planning meeting, where product owner will assign the sprint goal to the team, discuss it with the team, and then team would pull the items from the product backlog and will try to split them into the detailed stories because those are high level stories. And then for those detailed stories, product owner is supposed to assign the acceptance criteria. Then team and product owner will also discuss on the definition of done. Well, team would also do story point estimation, which will be facilitated by the Scrum Master. And if you talk about the sprint planning, what should be the duration? It can be anywhere between 3 to 6 hours for 2 weeks of iteration. If it's longer iteration, then it can be for eight hours as well. Shorter it is, better it is. And then we talk about the daily Scrum meeting, which is also known as daily stand-up, and you also call them as team sync in different frameworks. But this daily Scrum meeting is supposed to be only of 15 minutes, and it is only supposed to be for the team, where team members are updating each other. What did I do yesterday? What is my plan for today? And what obstacles? So let's say we start with the events. So team, there are these 5 events. You have sprint, which is a time box of 1 week to 4 weeks. Usually it is of 2 weeks. And then within sprint, you have sprint planning, which is done on the day 1. Then you have daily Scrum meeting, which is every day. And then on the last day, we do a demo of whatever increment we have produced, that is sprint review, followed by sprint retrospective. So these are the events that we can keep in mind as we go ahead. And team, there are these 3 artifacts. Well, when we talk about these artifacts, first artifact is product backlog, which is going to include the entire scope of whatever we are going to deliver, a product. So how many iterations are there? We can include that in the product backlog, like how many features are we delivering for that particular product? and what should be the overall goal for every iteration, high level stories for that particular iteration. We include that in the product backlog. And after how many iterations is our first release, second release, likewise, we include all those releases as well. So that's mainly our product backlog. Then we have a sprint backlog that we create on the day one of the sprint as a part of sprint planning meeting. And that's where the team would split those high level stories into the detailed stories. And there would be acceptance criteria given by the product owner. And there would be definition of done that can be created. And those stories will be estimated in the sprint planning meeting. So that's where we create a sprint backlog and then the increment. Now, increment is whatever feature we are going to demonstrate or whatever item that we have delivered in that particular iteration or that sprint, we call that as an increment, which we demonstrate at the end of that iteration. So it says it is some of the completed backlog items, means some of the completed user stories that we have completed. And when we say user story is completed, that means it has satisfied the definition of done. So these are three artifacts. So you can say you have three roles, five events, and three artifacts. Well, there are many organizations or many different, let's say, documents or books that have been written. They say that there is also a burn down chart, sprint burn down chart, which is considered as one of the artifacts. So in some of the documentations, you will see that there are four artifacts. Well, that's up to the organizations. You have these three main artifacts. Now, if we talk about AI, AI is everywhere nowadays. In fact, in our day-to-day work, we are using AI. Our roles are changing because of the AI. It's making our life easy. It's transforming the way we used to handle our work, everyday work. It has given us speed. It has given us the benefit of reducing the errors. So it has reduced the overall impact to the business. So if I talk about AI, AI mainly looks at machine learning. Now, machine learning, which is algorithms that improve through experiences and data analysis. In machine learning, you have supervised learning and unsupervised learning. These are two main classes, and then there is complete different discussion that it would open up. But that's mainly machine learning, which is part of the AI. Apart from machine learning, we also have natural language processing. So where whatever text has been written, whatever feedback we get from the customers or from the users or from any stakeholder, we can review that feedback and we can get the insights. So it can AI or let's say Gen AI, which includes that natural language processing (NLP). So it can go through a humongous data and give us the insights, and it can tell us proactively that what is the exact feedback. Is it positive? Is it negative? Where we need to improvise those areas. So that's where natural language processing can help. And intelligent automations are there, where systems that perform complex tasks with minimal human interventions. And you also have predictive analytics. So that is forecasting outcomes based on historical data patterns. So these are different attributes of AI. That's how AI is going to help us. Now, if we look at intersection of AI and Agile, so we are saying we are now using different adaptive systems, which are self-adjusting processes that are responding to changing project conditions. Well, if we look at this, now this is more useful when we talk about using Agile or Scrum, not Scrum, but Kanban in DevOps, because DevOps, you have continuous delivery and continuous deployment. So CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous deployment. Implementing Scrum over there is challenging, but as it is continuous flow, so Kanban is more applicable there. So that's where you can use those adaptive systems, which can identify those defects. It can help in automating the entire pipeline. It can proactively do the testing, find out what are the patterns of the defects, highlight those so that we can do the adjustments, or it can also autocorrect certain broken pipelines. So those are mainly adaptive systems. Intelligent decision making, yes, data driven insights that support the rapid informed choices. amongst what needs to be done and how we can improvise. Enhance iterations. So AI accelerates the build, measure, and learn cycle. So it is going to help us accelerate our iterations. Earlier, the iteration that used to take around, let's say, 4 weeks, now it will take lesser time, or 2 weeks can be done in 1 week also. So it is going to give us that speed and a complementary paradigm. So both emphasizes adaptation, learning, and continuous improvement. Well, if we look at the AI assisted sprint planning, now let's recall all the events. So there were 5 events. We spoke about the entire sprint as an event. Then we looked at the sprint planning. We looked at the daily stand ups. We looked at the sprint review and then the sprint retrospective. Within that particular sprint, overall sprint event, there are 4 events within the sprint. Now, if we look at sprint planning, see, in sprint planning, those stories have to be written. And so, if there is a sprint that assigned to the team, or let's say a feature that has been assigned to the team, so now using AI, if we feed that data into the AI, AI can write or help us write those user stories in detail. It can also help us understand what is the business value of those particular user stories so that we can prioritize those particular stories accordingly. So it helps in intelligent prioritization. Well, it also understands dependencies of the stories on the other teams so that we can plan them well, like last in, first out, first in, first out, or first in, last out. I mean, those kind of dependencies, or which are the dependencies on the other teams, so that we can plan with them. We can do the meetings like Scrum or Scrum meetings along with them. So that's where it helps. Plus, what should be the team's capacity? Now, when we look at the team's capacity, means how much work team can deliver. So mainly it happens that you should have the pass velocity of the team. So if team has certain velocity, based on that, your tools would predict that how team has performed in different iterations. Based on that data, that information, it can tell us that how much work team can deliver in the current iterations. So it helps in providing those particular estimates, making us more predictive in nature. It helps in appropriate resource optimization, what kind of skills are needed to deliver that work. It can give us that kind of information so that we know what skills are missing, what is the gap. It helps in the time estimation. So predictive model forecast task completion with 35% improved accuracy. And workload balancing. So real-time adjustments ensure even distribution across the team. Well, all this can be done in sprint planning meetings. Now, if we talk about the daily stand-up, how would it help in the daily stand-up meeting? So if I take you to the daily stand-up, it is going to help us understand that what has team achieved on any given day, and whether team would be able to complete the remaining work within that particular iteration on that particular day. So as it helps in assessing what they are doing on daily basis, understanding what is the capacity of the team, and that's where it can also give us the indication whether they will complete work on time or not, and understanding those impediments, giving us insights on how to resolve those impediments. So all that can be assisted by the AI. Now it helps in creating burn down charts. Now burn down chart tells us on any given day how much work is remaining. So it helps in creating those enhanced burn down charts, real-time monitoring, continuous analysis of team performance, metrics, flags, issues instantly. All this can happen during the daily stand-up meetings. I mean, regular execution of the iteration. Risk detection, automated systems identify potential blockers before the impact they impact the delivery, and smart recommendations. So how to overcome those particular blockers or how to manage that situation, we can get a lot of insights. And plus, it helps in natural language processing, as I told you earlier. So it can help in the automated summaries, or AI creates a concise meeting notes, capturing key decisions and action items during different meetings. You can say sentimental analysis, monitors teams' morale through communication patterns and the tone, and retrospective insights. So identifies patterns across the team, feedback to drive improvements. and story generation also. So as I told you earlier, it helps in creating a well-structured user story from rough requirements. Plus, it can also help us put in the appropriate acceptance criteria, creating a better definition of done for that iteration. So you can use Gen AI in all these areas. Well, it helps in the predictive analysis. So precision delivery, 50% reduction in timeline uncertainties. We have become more predictive in nature, like I told you. Then data-driven recommendations for important choices, early warning system for potential roadblocks or bottlenecks, and machine learning algorithms predict project outcomes with high accuracy. So there are chances that it can increase our project success rate as well. But that is not the only factor on which project success would depend. There are many other factors, but it contributes to the project success rate as well. Now, throughout the project, see, if you are using your CI/CD pipeline, you can automate the entire pipeline, like I told you earlier. So it can help in the automated code review processes. So you can have static code analysis I mean, it can help us detect the structural issues, bugs, and the patterns automatically. In fact, if we talk about the quality metric evaluation, so algorithm measures code quality using established metrics and the team standards, vulnerability detection, so security issues are identified early, and AI-empowered pattern recognition can be established. And then performance optimization improves the performance. Well, this is again continuous integration and AI. So, see, if I talk about the continuous integration, developers are going to commit the code. Then there are tools like you're committing code to GitHub. Then there could be Jenkins or other tools. So your code will be, I mean, there will be a unit test that will be conducted. Then it will be merged into the branch. Depends on your branching strategy, and then it goes for the automated integration test, automated regression testing, automated acceptance testing. Once all that is done, then it will be delivered in environment. Now, either if you are doing continuous delivery, it could go to staging environment where you can do further testing, or it can be pushed into the production environment directly. So it depends. Now here, whatever tools you are using, those tools can be integrated through APIs. Plus, there is that AI factor that has been included in all these particular tools. Data from these tools, the different databases, they are being scanned by the AI tools, and they can help us improvise the build or the success rate of the build, success rate of the test, success rate of the deployments, releases. It can help us everywhere. Now, machine learning and test automation, yes, you can have the test case generations, adaptive testing, anomaly detection, and self-healing tests. So it can help. Machine learning can help us in all these areas. Now, if I talk about monitoring the performance, yes. So real-time pattern recognition, it helps in real-time pattern recognition, predictive issue prevention, and automatic root cause analysis. Now that's where you need to have a combination of white box and black box monitoring tools. And plus those tools are really using AI capability, and it can take you to the root cause, the why something is not working, which line of code has a defect. Then scaling decisions or precise resource recommendations can come from the AI enhanced approach. Otherwise, in traditional approach, we used to do manual review of metrics, reactive to failures, time-consuming investigations, and based on general thresholds. That's how we used to do the scaling. But team now AI enhanced approach will save you a lot of efforts, will give you more accuracy, will give you more speed. Those are the benefits. So here you can see if we talk about the risk reduction, so 85% risk reduction or risk prediction accuracy. So if you can predict them, you will be able to prevent them. So there is a 40% issue prevention rate and 3 times technical debt visibility and 60% time saving. These could be the benefits of using AI. Well, intelligent team collaboration tools. Now, if we talk about one of the values that we have in Agile, that is you are going to promote the value which says individuals and interactions or processes and tools. So for interactions, we need to have team collaboration tools which can help in improving the communication efficiency, knowledge sharing, meeting productivity, cross team assignments, alignment, and information discovery. So that's where you can see that what was the percentage before and now what is the improvement after using AI. It has improvised all these areas, and that is big difference. Now, AI powered retrospectives. Well, talk about retrospectives, everyone in the team is going to share their feedback. So it helps. I mean, our natural language processing can help us in also doing the sentiment tracking. So AI analyzes team communication to measure the satisfaction and identify emotional trends of the team. Then performance trends. So algorithms identify patterns in velocity and quality metrics across multiple sprints and team dynamics. So network analysis reveals collaboration patterns and potential communication gaps. So that's where retrospective, it can help in the retrospective also. Now, team personalized learning recommendations that can also be included in your retrospectives, where you will be able to identify the skill gaps using AI, and tailored trainings can be recommended. So algorithms recommend specific learning resources based on the learning style and the skill gap. And then development tracking. So system monitors skill acquisition through practical application in daily work. And knowledge optimization. So AI suggests the optimal learning paths that balance immediate project needs. So team, these are the benefits of AI throughout our sprint execution or through our Scrum execution, if you look at it. Now, security and compliance integration, yes, as we discussed, it helps in the entire automated pipeline, but also if we integrate security into that. So not just DevOps, now it has become DevSecOps. So that's where it can help us in doing the vulnerability scanning. There are multiple tools for it that can be utilized. Then you can have compliance check being done as per the requirements, and then risk assessment. So algorithms calculate these security risk scores based on the threat models and regulatory alignment. So all these could be the benefits of AI when it comes to security. Now, understanding Scrum artifacts through AI, if we look at artifacts, we discuss about the product backlog, sprint backlog, and the increment. Well, you can also look at the burn down chart. So as we discussed in daily execution, AI being used, it helps in creating those effective burn down charts. So let's have a discussion on this. See, when we look at the product backlog, so automated story breakdown, where you give the high level stories to the tool and it can help in splitting those stories into the detailed stories. So, or let's say you give them the feature or the requirement and it can create the features out of it, high level stories out of it. So that's where AI can be used. It helps in the impact analysis, predicts the feature value using market data. And based on that, we can understand how important that feature is for the business, and we can prioritize those features. And that's how we can plan our sprints. And it helps in the smart prioritization, rank items using multiple business factors and data driven personas, create user profiles from actual behavior. So that is the benefit of AI in product backlog. Similarly, it can help in the sprint backlog as well. In the sprint backlog, it can also suggest using acceptance criteria, what kind of acceptance criteria you can have. So that's where we create a sprint backlog in the sprint planning meeting. So here it can help us first understand what is the optimal sprint length. Will it be a 1 week, 2 week, and so accurate estimation, story point calculations. So when team is doing that story point estimation, there you can use AI tools which can give you more precise and effective story points. And based on that, you can predict that how much work team can deliver. So that means velocity prediction. Velocity is how much work team completed in any given iteration, means how many story points of work team has completed in any given iteration. And that is the sum of the story points of completed user stories. So forecast the team capacity, accounting for holidays and planned absences, that will also be considered. And as per that velocity prediction, it helps in identifying the risk in advance. So potential blockers can be identified and their impact can be, we can understand and we can prepare well for them. Now, if I talk about AI tools for Scrum Master. See, in the end, there was last increment, there was, the last artifact, there was increment. So if you look at the increment, it can also help us in suggesting what would be the right way to do the demonstration for that particular feature or that particular increment, and how to capture the feedback. It can provide guidance on that as well. So AI is very important for all the artifacts. Now, if I talk about the AI tools for Scrum Master, yes, you would need team facilitation tools. So AI offers meeting techniques based on the team's needs and experience levels. A meeting leader get live tips on how the team is working together. And administrative automations, it can automate almost the entire information radiator. So it can track or it can create your sprint burndown charts by itself. It can track your Kanban status at any given time, Kanban board or Jira board status at any given time. It can take the meeting notes, action items, MOMs for all those meetings can be prepared. That's where AI can be useful. And it helps in the performance coaching as well. So AI spots the team habits, shows where the team needs to improvise. And Scrum Master can get these personalized tips to build their skills. Well, if I talk about AI intervention in Scrum, so you can see it is everywhere. In fact, if I look at Jira, so now you have Jira AI assistants, which can help in the smart estimation, automated prioritization, predictive analytics. You have Asana Intelligence, which brings in AI-powered insights. So that also helps in smart scheduling, workload balancing, progressive predictions. You have GitHub Copilot for Agile. You have Azure DevOps AI, which can help in sprint analytics, velocity forecasting. And you have Trello that is going to help us in automated card sorting when you do these story point estimation, prioritization, and all. Deadline predictions, workflow optimization. So these are just few examples of AI tools that can be utilized in our day-to-day work. Well, if you really want to measure the AI integration success, means how well AI is being integrated into our agile ways of working, into our day-to-day work, you can consider these different areas like velocity. So you will see rise in the velocity, bug rate. So bug rate will be reduced, estimation accuracy will improve, team satisfaction will improve, time to market will be faster. Means the time to reach the market will be less as compared to the before part, means when AI was not there. So these could be few parameters that you can measure that can help you understand whether AI is helping us or not, or whether it was successful or not. Now, if you are implementing AI into your day-to-day work, so there should be a gradual adoption. Start with the low risk, high impact areas to demonstrate value and build confidence. Pilot projects, that is our regular approach. We always go with the pilot, and then whatever learnings we have, we are going to go ahead and implement those learnings and do the further improvisation. And then expand successful approaches systematically across the teams and processes, and continuous evaluation. Well, for this, first point would be set up a center of excellence in every organization, and then you can have a team, dedicated team that can be assigned to implement that pilot, and then slowly we can replicate that. And we improvise regularly. Now, there are challenges as well when it comes to AI and agile integration. So we are saying technical complexity can arise. So integration of AI system with the existing tools requires specialized expertise and infrastructure. In fact, data quality. So AI effectiveness depends on clean, extensive historical data that many teams lack. Because I tell you, in many organizations, the way they are capturing the information, that information cannot be trusted. Many organizations are using open source tools. So there's always a risk the data could not be good. I'm not saying it will always be the case, but yes. So you cannot trust that data at times. So it becomes one of the challenge. Then you have a skill gap. Many organizations face shortage of professionals with both AI and agile expertise. You have to have ethical considerations, means ensuring fair, transparent AI decisions require additional governance frameworks. So many organizations are building those governance frameworks. like you have GDPR regulations, so international framework like GDPR in Europe and CCPA in California established baseline requirements for AI systems. You have ethical guidelines, industry-specific standards, help organizations implement AI responsibly, and then you have compliance rules, automated frameworks verify adherence to regulations throughout the development lifecycle. So this is for those ethical practices. We need to have more strict regulations. Still, there is a chance. In fact, ISO 42000 talks about this. Now, these are some of the case studies in the end, like for so and so organization, tech innovators. Starting point was enterprise software companies struggled with unpredictable delivery and poor estimation accuracy. Then AI integration, when it was done, so implemented machine learning for sprint planning and automated code reviews. That was during the build. What was the result? 40% improvement in delivery predictability and 65% reduction in critical bugs. So lesson was start with high impact areas and build team AI literacy before full implementation. So AI literacy has to be improvised, awareness, communication, transparency, and a lot of training. The team, another one, now this was mainly for financial organization. So if we talk about their implementation focus, so major bank integrated AI for compliance checking and risk prediction in their agile development processes. Algorithms automatically access regulatory impacts on the code changes, and then reduce. So measurable outcome was reduce compliance related defects by 78% and decreased audit preparation time by 60%, improve risk assessment accuracy to 92%, up from 65%. That is the improvisers. Critical success factor, cross-function teams with both AI and financial regulation expertise. Now that becomes your critical success factor. AI literacy is very important. So strong data governance practices they use, that was also important. Transparent AI decisions with human oversights and ongoing evolution. So expanding AI capabilities to include the predictive fraud detection and automated stress testing scenarios within agile development cycle. Now, healthcare, so they could improvise 40, I mean, they could do the 45% resource optimization. So that reduced clinical time spent on the documentation. And if I talk about diagnostic accuracy, that was 82%, 30% development speed, speed was increased, 30% increase in the speed. And 12.5 million patient records were analyzed to improve care protocols. That was the benefit from AI. Now, if you look at the future of AI in Agile, so 85% adoption rate by 2026 and 40% efficiency gains and 3 times faster delivery. That would be faster time to market. Now, this is what is being discussed right now in the market. This is what they are looking at, that AI is going to facilitate this. So there will be more technological evolutions that will take place, disruption potential. So self-organizing teams with AI managing routine coordination, then collaboration models, human AI paired programming and design partnership that will help organizational structures. They are going to change. In fact, if I look at this, as I was saying, AI is transforming a lot of roles. So Scrum Master role, there are AI systems that are capable of performing performing a lot of tasks that Scrum Master does. So AI systems are facilitating the meetings between, all the meetings, all those events, and optimizing team interactions also. So in many organizations, they are right now looking at AI as the option for Scrum Master, but it depends. See, again, this can be a point of discussion where you can say, no, we need that human interaction. Yes, Scrum Master adds a lot of value. I'm not saying we should get rid of the Scrum Master role, but it is going to evolve a lot because most of the work that Scrum Master does will be done by the AI tools. And then ethical frameworks are coming up, development of standards for responsible AI agile integration that is taking place in the market. and continuous learning, self-improving. AI adapts means which is generative AI. It adapts to team dynamics and evolving practices. And as we discussed, human AI collaboration, so teams and AI systems working together as unified entities. So team, that's it from my side. Thank you for your participation in this workshop, in this webinar.